and welcome back to another episode of SKC Live. I'm actually so excited, and by the way, I'm Brian Kipp, but I'm so excited as I even forgot to tell my own name. I'm sitting here with the myth, the man, the legend, the creator, nightlife, Vegas, everything, Mr. Bo Town himself in the flesh.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Bo Karlen here, live from SKC. Brian Kipp, thanks so much for having me on the podcast. Really looking forward to this. I know we go way back, and so I think we should have some good stories for the people here today.
No, absolutely. But here's the thing, though. Did we call each other up and say, hey, let's both wear our Captain's Club hoodie? No, we didn't.
No, that's called just being on the same page, on the same wavelength, like, our direct circle of people that we work with and we obviously look up to, and because we have business ventures, I promote this, daily, just like you do.
And, sure.
And I actually need to get more of these. I think we're supposed to get 2 on the Captain's Club. I only retrieved 1 of them, so I need to get another one because this is going to be worn out. But 11 Captain's Club, Miami. Goes all the way back to, ex-partner of mine, Gino Lopinto, pioneer and legend of Las Vegas nightlife.
What I was about to say is that, a lot of people that are kind of getting into the nightlife scene in the industry, they all know Gino Lopinto, 11 Miami, right?
Right.
And in Miami, he's mayor, he's legend. Obviously, with all the partners, and obviously the creator of 11, Dennis Agori. But a lot of people in Miami don't know Gino's history in Las Vegas, where he literally created, I'm going to say, underground electronic music,
Absolutely.
nightlife, after hours. I mean, a lot of people they're like, oh, well, yeah, Empire Ballroom. Well, still, take it back. Okay, well, what about the Rhino? All right, cool, take it back. Yeah. Utopia, cool, take it back. And you were there from the very beginning.
Yeah, March 96, transplanted here from Portland, Oregon. Didn't know a soul, just life change. Got out of a relationship out there and moved to Vegas. Came to the Rio one night when Club Rio was there back in the days with Stevie D.
Stevie D, yeah.
Yeah, Stevie boy. And there was a line outside this door, clear to the valet, and I was like, wow, Vegas nightlife. And so I went there that night and brought a piece of candy with me, and that was my eye-opening experience of that. I was sitting in the Rio watching the Boogie Nights on a Wednesday night and watching the bikini contest and thousands of people here, and it instantly came to me here. I was like, wow, 24 hours, no rules, alcohol 24/7.
Strip clubs,
everything. And I thought, wow, I kind of found my calling. Being a people person like I am, I came from a little bit of an underground scene in Portland before I moved. Even though I was a big athlete, I was throwing parties, but nothing on the level when I moved to Vegas.
When you got here, your eyes just popped out of your head.
Instantly.
Well, what's crazy? A lot of people don't know this, but when I went to high school here, I grew up here, but I worked for a radio station, 94.1.
Oh, yeah.
It was called 94.1 Jams, and this is when they were out on Water Street in Henderson before they moved off Rainbow, and they kind of changed their format a little bit. But I actually helped on the promotion side, and Club Rio was obviously also inside the Rio.
Right.
I actually got the opportunity to go to Club Rio, and they had all the private skyboxes.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I got to go there, I was 18 years old, and they told me, hey, you can't go down to the club because I'm not 21, right? But, hey, we'll sneak you up to the skyboxes. And I actually got to hang out with 2 people that were actually 3 people were in that room. It was, remember the group Lighter Shade of Brown?
Yeah, very beginning.
Marky Mark.
Oh, wow.
He was there, so obviously Mark Wahlberg. And Coolio. They were all in the same room up in Club Rio.
Rest in peace, Coolio.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sudden.
Yeah, just out of nowhere. He was a big deal here in the scene with a lot of the locals around town in the party scene. So going way back like you did, then.
Yeah, no, 100%. We actually did, I did that. So, my opportunity, I'm trying to tie in Club Rio, but man, there's going to be 100 things we're going to talk about here. But I used to also be a part of this group called Empty Pockets Productions. And Empty Pockets Productions was an underground kind of warehouse rave group. And we had the electronic music, techno side, right? And then we also had the hip hop side. And DJ Warren Peace.
Yes.
And he was DJing at the radio station, UNLV, on UNLV radio, where we actually, it was actually one of the partners, Armani, and a guy named Ed Miller, which is actually still bartending to this day.
Eddie Miller?
Ed Miller.
I love Eddie Miller. He
Yeah.
was at Wet Republic forever. He's great.
Yeah, no, he was, and he went over to Aria. He was doing what is that, the lounge there. Anyways, yeah, he's all over the place.
Yeah.
But
Good
so
guy.
yeah, so it's funny. God, we were going to fold this all into it, but I was working at a Pizza Hut during high school. He was a delivery driver, and that's how we met. And I was, I wasn't the most popular kid at my school, but I was pretty popular in sports and a lot of different clubs. And so he literally kind of recruited me and said, "Hey, do you want to be a part of this production?" And it just helped me promote this. So, of course, flyers on every cars, flyers in lockers. And but the one thing that was really predominant back then is nobody had a camera, a video camera. Well, my dad had a really cool, the big video camera that you put the VHS.
The shoulder, yeah.
Yep. And so literally I would come and film all of the parties.
Oh, nice.
And so they always put this really big, I can't remember the guy's name. It was like a Samoan guy that would kind of stay with me because I had this big camera and, if I got bumped into or
Sure.
I was a little guy and, had the time of my life. And I got to meet a lot of amazing people, but that was in 95, 96. So it was right when you were coming on the scene.
Yeah.
But I wasn't old enough yet. I was just graduating high school in 95. And, I wanted to go. You had Sharks Club.
Yep.
You had the drink.
Yep. The drink.
You
Thursday
had,
nights.
yep. You had, what was the place over at the Venetian? CY?
WB. WB.
WB.
Upstairs where the Tao is now currently. That
Yep.
was that with the outside little patio stuff. That was great. That was the beginning.
No, but what was the one that was inside the Venetian? The one Stevie D actually did it. It was like CYK.
Oh, C2K. Oh,
C2K,
that was the
yeah.
first mega club. I worked with Stevie, came on, brought and did that whole thing there in the beginning. C2K was the first mega club in the country.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first big
When
club.
did that open up? Did it open up like in 99, 2000?
Well, we brought Rubber, Pimp and Ho and all that stuff there right around 2000, 2002 is when that all got taken away and shut down. So right around 98 to 2002, I'm thinking right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the first mega club when the Venetian opened, and that really was the big draw for that. And that kind of what put the club scene on the map, other than, the origination of like Utopia, which was really the biggest club around town then at that point.
Oh, no, 100%. It actually, so I actually got, when I was living in Miami, so after I graduated high school, I joined the Coast Guard. I ended up finding my way out to Miami. And while I wasn't working, I was learning a new trait, which is photography. And I got to meet a lot of the club promoters in Miami because around that time, they changed the legal age from 18 to 21 to go to a club on Miami Beach. And it really kind of hurt the scene a little bit because, Miami Beach at the time, that was the mecca other than New York for models. And so models were flocking down to South Beach to be represented by all these different mega talent agencies.
Beautiful photo shoots, the beaches, yeah.
So I actually kind of got on the ground floor and, became a pretty big photographer in Miami. And so a lot of the promoters I ended up getting introduced to, they literally were like, "Hey, Brian, like if we're turning this club into a restaurant beforehand." And obviously they were doing it to get around the rules so that if it's a restaurant, it can be all ages. And then it just stay in there as it turns into a club.
Flip the switch.
Flip the switch is a club now.
Yeah.
And so they're like, "Hey, can you bring 4 to 6, 8, hot model girls? And I'll comp your dinner. We'll give you free bottles. We'll put you front and center." Remember the club Bed?
Oh, absolutely. Used to go all the time. WNC. Yeah.
Yep.
Great spot.
That was actually the first club that I actually started doing that with. And they would literally every week call me and say, "Brian, can you bring another 6 to 8 girls? We'll put you on that center bed right when you walked into bed." It was all
First
literally
one.
beds, right?
Yep.
It was that first one, and it was on Monday nights. It was our industry night, and yeah, I would do that, and before you know it, I started meeting all these people in the nightlife industry, to even just powerful people, and they find out I'm from Vegas. So I kind of became Mr. Vegas without really knowing Vegas at all.
Yeah.
And so now when I'm flying back and forth from Miami to Vegas, because I still have my family out here, they're like, "Hey, you need to meet my friend Victor Dre.
Yes.
You need to meet my friend Paulie Freeman, Gino Lopento, Stevie D." I literally got to meet, I got to have dinner with Victor when Dre still had a steakhouse downstairs.
Absolutely.
And then it was funny because when I was there for that, I got to meet my very first nightclub host. That actually, I wish the nightclub host community would actually go back to this. Remember Cassie Rose?
Of course.
So
Loved her.
Cassie, I got introduced to her through
She was
Victor.
Victor's favorite. He loved her.
Well, he referred me to her, and then so Cassie actually, every time I would say, "Hey, I'm coming to Vegas," she would say, "Hey, do you need a car service? Do you need a hotel? Do you need me to book?" She was so attentive to me.
Yeah, she was very professional about it. She was very good at her job. Well,
And she was a VIP host at an after-hours club. After-hours still was kind of being discovered, right?
yeah.
But the whole thing is that like that's how nightclub hosts need to kind of be. Now, granted, they don't have the leverage and the power that she probably had back then, where they probably had an account at executive or whatever limousine services,
Sure.
to where they can go do this because I was coming in and she was setting me up at the table, and I remember like it was a big deal if you did anything above 1,500.
Yeah.
And actually, it was never a $1,500 minimum. What was it? How were tables sold back then?
Well, buy one, get ones.
Or just
specials
bottles.
or just comps.
You got to buy 5 bottles to get
bottles.
that table.
Oh, before they changed the whole minimum thing.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Exactly. It's 3 or 4 bottles. And back then, obviously, the prices weren't what they were now, but still, they weren't imposing the number of bottles. It just went to a minimum. So
Exactly, 100%. But I remember when they kind of changed, like really, we still played that bottle game up until probably Excess opened. And then Excess kind of changed it and said, no, it's a table minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, they're actually the first ones to probably incorporate that.
Well,
I think not even
like
so much
full-time incorporated.
Yeah,
I think it was them.
Light Group maybe started with it.
Maybe,
originally with Andrew and Andy.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to take any credit from somebody that actually did it, but I remember being in that scene that the very first nightclub that actually said, "Here's the table minimum."
Right. Minimum spend.
Minimum spend, yeah.
Right.
And was that the club actually did it. I mean, me and Mark J, which obviously you know very well. We partnered up and did the Sunset Session Party at Tao for a long time, many years, and. The cabanas and the day beds had minimum spends. And I felt like the outdoor, all the day clubs, they already had that kind of, because you can't really say 10 bottles at a day club.
Yeah.
And really, now you actually could because.
It's nothing really nowadays.
Nobody ever thought it was going to blow up the way it did.
Yeah.
Nobody ever thought. Tao Beach came on the scene the same year that Bear opened up in 2007. Rehab was already the king dinglings and the space. Probably the funnest debauchery party. If you wanted to be debauchery and have candy, it was definitely the party to be at.
Yeah, I remember when they started first bringing all the big DJs. They did hip hop, and then they started bringing Tiesto, and then I mean, overnight that thing became a global sensation. Rehab was definitely probably the biggest, strongest party back in those days.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're talking about legendary, but also at the Hard Rock, Body English, Sunday School,
one of my favorite spots.
I think literally those are two of the biggest, most memorable parties that I would say hands down in Las Vegas as a club consistent. I mean, Worship Thursdays at Tao obviously was legendary on his own. Pier Tuesdays, was another legend. But really, I can't think of any other party. Sunday School.
Hard Rock was the place to be back then too. It was cracking with all the celebrities, the Vince Neils, the Rodmans, Motley Crue, all the people, Pamela Anderson, all those big celebrities there. So Body English, and then you doubled up during the day at Rehab. You didn't leave the Hard Rock for 3 or 4 days. You got the room there, and you camped out because there was no better place to be, and that's where everybody was.
And then it's funny because still to this day, I keep hearing, I'm not going to the Virgin Hotel because they took out the center bar.
Worst thing they've ever done.
The center bar at the Hard Rock was the mecca. One of the greatest stories I've ever heard was actually a guy that I know pretty well, and I know you know him too, Keith Rigondo, over at Crazy Horse 3. He tells me he was working at Club Paradise, and a guy was basically pitching Amazon stock to him in 1998, 1999. Now, just imagine, like we're talking like less than $1 a stock, whatever it was, and he said that he literally missed the meeting because he ended up meeting a bunch of people and things got weird from the Hard Rock Circle Bar. The Hard Rock Circle Bar prevented him because he was really interested. He probably would have bought in, But things went, sideways, and I apologize, Keith, if I'm butchering the story, but I know it's along those lines, but I mean that center bar, I remember in 2000 coming out, staying at the Hard Rock, which I remember that and the Bellagio were like the two most expensive places to stay. Even the Palms. The Palms is another legendary spot. Yeah. But I remember being there and being at the center bar and really feeling like everybody that was there were authentic people. And if you understand Vegas bars after 12 o'clock, they kind of turn into, you're going to find, you can find anything you want for a price.
Right.
We'll just say that. And, but I felt like they were always authentic because I ended up, meeting a girl or two, and, having my first Vegas real kind of hookup experience at the Hard Rock.
Yeah, hey, that's where all the girls were. It was the center meeting where you meet. We're at the Hard Rock, and pretty soon it just like everybody's at the Hard Rock at 11 or 12, and then it was body English, and then once you got your crew together, you were doing one of the two, daytime or nighttime, at the pool parties at rehab as well. So
but if you think about it, I mean, Hard Rock's rival, you would have thought would have been anything else on the Strip. No, it was the Palms.
Palms, right
on the other side of the freeway. Yeah. Now think about it. How is that possible? The Las Vegas Strip, the most valuable piece of property, I think it even rivals Times Square. I think it's more expensive. All these casinos, all this money, all these marketing minds, and you got two hotels independently owned, privately owned. You had the Malus owned one, then you had Morton's owned the other one. Right. And they're kicking the crap out of the Las Vegas Strip because they were innovators. Yeah. I mean, Peter had Harry, his son, and then you had the Malus had George, and George he listened to people. I mean, I never got really close with George. I've been in the same room. I've been at dinner, drinks. I actually was a casting producer on the TV show Inked, which was inside the Palms.
Yeah. John Huntington and Carrie Hart.
Yeah. I yeah. Got brought in through my good friend Austin James. That was he was actually the casting producer. I guess I was a casting director. But yeah, I mean, like those were the heydays of Las Vegas. I would say from 2003 to 2009, 8-9 would probably be the heyday.
Yeah, and that was the explosion of everybody, getting into being a host or, throwing parties as promoters. And then that's kind of where the promoter came in right there. We were talking so much about hosts, but all these big clubs opened up, and then it really kind of opened up space for promoters. And that's kind of where I came in.
Yep.
I was out and I met tons of people, and I've always built my network. I always put out a card. Then I started doing small weekly parties, and then I'm like, wow, no one's doing after hours here. This is even prior to Utopia. And so I opened up a little place called Forbidden. I don't know if you remember over here on Polaris and Valley View. It was 18 and over, all nude. And the owner was like, if you could bring people here, I'll pay you. And I was like, oh, okay. How late you open?
Are you talking over, what was the cross? DI?
Right? Polaris and I think right here on Valley View, close to DI, right in that little area there. And it was just sat back off there, and it was just a little place, but it was just total debauchery. I mean, it was 18 and over, alcohol, sneaking in, party favors everywhere, and everybody came there, and that was the beginning. Well, we outgrew that so fast because it was about a 150-person venue. And then I did little BJ's Lounge behind MGM right there on Tropicana. Kind of a temporary spot. Wasn't the best place for it, but I had to move my people somewhere because we grew so fast for after hours. Now Utopia opens up. Now I'm there. I'm living there. I know Gino. I know Paulie. They did their thing, but I was kind of doing the after hours. So we became friends and relationships, and everybody knew, oh, we're going to Bo's after hours or whatever. So then I started getting in Gino's ear. I'm like, dude, if I put my sources together, you put your Utopia together, let's find a spot. Well, we outgrew BJ's Lounge, and it was a sports bar. It wasn't the best place to do, but it held its spot for probably 6 months. So then we did Tommy's over at, or Jerry's over across from the college. Little college spot there. It was right on Maryland Parkway. It was called Jerry's. And so we did that for a while. And I said, Gino, this still isn't the right spot. We need something on the Strip because you had to do the drive from the Strip over to Maryland Parkway. Lots of police and whatnot. So then I walked into a little place called the Blue Lantern. And they were in deep shit. It was a strip club, kind of gay club, for guy strippers. So it was predominantly a gay club. And I walked in there and talked to the owner, and he's like, oh, no, we're getting ready to close down. I said, Gino, I found a great spot. brought Gino over there. And then that's when Spearmint Rhino came in. And that's how we met John. And Gino went in and did the deal. Right before that, we had our first shot at Dre's. A lot of people don't know. There's a lot of people that, did
Dre's or
different things.
Rhino?
Dre's was actually before Rhino. Me and Gino went in there and said, hey, we want to do an after hours. We want to do a night. And he's like, Victor was like, and I knew Victor from probably, kind of the same people you did in the same circle. And he was like, no, we want to do a Wednesday dinner night. And me and Gino were like, no, we want Rhino, after hours, boom, boom, boom. And that, he didn't take the bait. So then we walked in, did Blue Lantern, Gino went in and did the deal. And that's how Rhino was going for about 9 months before he got shut down. And Dre's had opened up during that transformation of it. But that's kind of dating back from Forbidden to BJ's Lounge to Jerry's. Then me and Gino kind of merged together. We took the concept to Dre's. They didn't want it. Then we found the Blue Lantern, which is the gay club. And then that evolved into Spearmint Rhino to what it is today. So that's how far back the concept goes.
Which is crazy because I actually know Kevin. And I know K-Cow.
Oh, yeah. Great guys.
Yeah, and K-Cow was the owner of the Blue Lantern. And then Kevin was the lawyer, which is now his husband.
Oh, wow. Right. That's right.
And when, was it John?
Christo?
No.
Oh, before?
Who's the guy who got kind of banished from Vegas, the owner of Rhino? John Gray? Not John Gray. Not the
Palms.
Not the Palms, John Gray.
Yeah.
There's another guy, and we probably needed,
Gino would know because he kind of took over from that point. I became the promoter. He did the.
So what happened is that guy had to leave town for whatever reason, and he went over. This is a story from K-Cow and Kevin.
Okay.
That they went over and they said, "Hey, can you keep an eye on my strip club, Spearmint Rhino?" And they're like, "Wow, we're a couple. It's not really our forte,
right?
But sure." And then it turned into a longer thing where they said, "Listen, if you want us to take this over, we'll take it over, but we need paperwork."
Right.
And then it turned over to where, if you think about it, genius. Two guys that already know the hospitality industry, don't know the mainstream strip club industry, but they're two gay guys.
Right.
Who's the less threatened person to all the girls that are going to come over there?
Right.
So literally, that's how it all started. And then John Christo. Literally, he was, I believe, the first hire.
Yeah, he was the first hire, and still there till this day. 25 years plus later.
Yeah, no,
did a great job.
And then I remember, and then of course, Rhino Monday nights. Rhino. Well, first it was after hours, right? Yeah. You guys were doing Saturday nights there, crushing it.
You'd show up at 8, 9 in the morning. There was 1,000 people out front. It was crazy. And then the Pip and Ho Rubber Days fed into that, and there were days there easily. Many days that we stayed 2, 3, 4 days in there. We didn't even leave the place. Then they brought food in, so we didn't even have to leave for food. No, we didn't eat very much during the course of those days, but eventually that just became like a home, and it was just so fun. And then we added the other days, like you're saying, the other promotion nights and stuff.
Well, yeah, because I literally remember when I would be in Miami and come out to Vegas for the weekend, and I would literally try to find a weekend I can actually leave on Tuesday morning because I wanted to be here for Monday night at Rhino.
Yeah.
And because I started, meeting all these different people. And then that's actually when I met you. Well, I first met you during those times. We never really got close then. But
we're in the same circles.
The same thing with Gino, same circles. Yeah. And then, and I remember, really funny story. I come out to Vegas. I'm back in Vegas, and somebody's reintroducing me to Paulie Freeman. And,
he had the long hair.
He definitely had the long hair. He was the director of nightclubs for Caesars Entertainment.
Yeah.
And he was at Voodoo Lounge. Yep. And so I got introduced to him, and I'm trying to remember how the whole connection happened. But I remember I had like 4 or 5 girls with me. And so Paulie's like, hey, I've got kind of a busy night, but I'm going to get you a table at Voodoo Lounge, and I'm going to send you over a complimentary bottle. And I'm like, all right, cool. Now, this is like, I'm just fresh in from Miami, so it's 2004, 2005. So, like, moving back to Vegas. Now, it was my birthday. That's exactly what it was. It was my birthday. Somebody reconnected us, and I went over to Voodoo Lounge. And so the waitress comes over to me. Now, remember, Vegas, Miami. So I'm already programmed Miami style. All right, now I'm going to have to get reformatted to Vegas. The waitress comes up to me, hands me a bottle menu, and she goes, you could pick any bottle you want on the menu. And this is before they had like crazy, like, Louis the 13th
Right.
and, huge Ace of Spades or I'm sorry, or Cristal and all that stuff. And it was for a bottle of vodka. So I'm looking down the list. I go, Sky. I'll take a bottle of Sky. Now, in Miami, the top at the time, it was Grey Goose, Belvedere, and Sky. And those, probably in those three orders. But they're all...
First to market, those three, pretty much.
Well, Sky had a really cool presentation with a light underneath the bottle.
I remember it.
And before the light flickered things and the bottle presentation, they would come out with these bottles of Sky through the club.
Right.
And literally, you're like, hold on a second. I want a bottle of Sky. Because people can all see that all these bottles are coming to my table.
Presentation.
But what Sky did is they go, Vegas is starting to blow up. Let's go and do this ridiculous. I mean, I'm sure they regret it now because it destroyed their whole brand. Hey, we want to get Sky in all the wells and everywhere. Yeah. We're going to do $10. I take it back. It was $6.25 for a 750-liter bottle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And whatever the case, well, I think it was $12 a case. And then it was like $8 for a liter bottle. And so, of course, everybody in the industry started scooping it up. But do you think they made it their premium?
No.
So, like, literally,
Definitely
the girl goes, what bottle do you want? And I go, Sky. And then she goes, just so you know, you can get any bottle on the menu. Like almost.
No, I like the coolness of Sky.
And I go, why?
Cobalt blue.
Right? Yeah. I go, what? What's wrong with the bottle? Like, what's wrong? Do you guys not have it? She goes, no, it's not. But that's our comp bottles. And like literally, when I heard that, that's branding and marketing, epic failure number one.
Right.
With the brand. And on this podcast, I don't ever want to ever trash a brand, but if you go back, whoever came up with that concept, like the marketing department, all right, and the branding department for the brand, all right, because there's two different things there. They literally never talked, because when the marketing department goes, hey, we're gonna, they're talking to sales, right, and sales like, hey, we're gonna take over Vegas, we're gonna do this. The branding people should have stepped in and said, whoa, hold on, you're gonna trash our brand,
cheapen it.
So, anyways, I mean, so that's my story. But getting reconnected with Paulie, then he comes over to the table when I was there, had a cocktail, and I'm like, yeah, I remember meeting this guy Gino Lopento. He was like, oh my gosh, actually he's coming here. Actually, I'm gonna go meet with him downstairs. Do you want to come with me? I'm like, hell yeah. So went downstairs. And that's when I got reconnected to Gino as well. And this is when he was just opening up Empire Ballroom. When did he open up Empire Ballroom?
Oh, gosh.
Was it 2003, 2004?
3 and 4. Yeah, because it was right after C2K. So, yeah.
Because
right about that time.
Because I know that him and Paulie were still, I don't know if they're, what their business relationship was, but I know they still had some sort of relationship, whether or not it was sharing information on sponsors or whatever it was. But I know that they still work together because I know Paulie used to be his GM in the Utopia days, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Paulie was there during the day, and then he went over to Voodoo. We did Rise and Shine at Voodoo on the Memorial weekends. Brought in the LA promoters, the Danny B's and the Castros, and so Rise and Shine was great being up there and watching the sun come, similar to like the Terrace now. But that was a great little spot whenever we did that. I mean, and we did those on the big weekends where everybody, the Pimp and Ho Road people and everybody, and trying to get up those elevators to the Voodoo Lounge and stuff it was a good spot. We tried to revisit that and get more parties later on, but after Paulie left and stuff, they weren't really into the whole, that concept anymore, so it didn't last long.
Well, it was really weird because you're 100% right. Because I think the Rio was trying to reinvent themselves because one major thing happened. They ended up getting the World Series of Poker.
I'm just going to say, and that's probably the reason why is they brought that in with a whole other crowd and had to change.
Well, you're talking like hundreds of millions of dollars over a 45-day span.
That kind of became the VIP for the World Series of Poker because I remember they used to, have a lot of their after parties or pre-parties and whatnot there too.
So funny story. When it moved over there, Jeffrey Pollock was the commissioner of the World Series of Poker, and I got introduced to him because I played professional cash games from like 2005 to 2010. But anyways, I got introduced to Jeffrey Pollock when he first came on board, and I was already doing parties. And so I said, hey, let me do the launch party for the World Series of Poker, and let me do the wrap party right before the main event. If you know anything about the World Series of Poker, there's all these events leading up to the main event.
Satellite, they call them?
No, they're actually
different?
bracelet events.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it started off with like a handful, a couple dozen or a dozen, and now it's like over 60 plus events that are actually bracelet events, because that's the most
Leading
coveted
up
thing.
to it.
Yeah,
You have to win one of those in order to get an ongoing tournament style, or?
No, they're individual events. Literally, like there'll be like a $1,500 buy-in to a $50,000 Omaha tournament, to all these different events leading up to the main event, which is its own event number, which was like 60 something this year. Anybody can buy into the main event. It's a $10,000 buy-in. Okay. It's the largest poker tournament in the world.
8,000 people there in the first 2 or 3 years a year. I think it was over 8,000 or something like that at one point.
I believe this year they went over 8,000 again. I mean, the prize is stupid amount of money. Right. But what ended up happening is I ended up doing the launch party and the wrap party. I did it for 3 years, I think, 2007, 8, and 9. And I did at Voodoo. I literally just went to Polly and I said, hey, I'm working with, these guys. And, God, there was a guy, I can't remember his name. He was really good friends with Mark J. And he was one of the marketing managers for the World Series of Poker, but he also was like a floor supervisor. Nice. Anyways, he ended up kind of really helping me cement the whole deal. But yeah, I mean, but when Jeffrey left, there was a new guy that took over, and he just decided, we don't really need launch parties and wrap parties. I personally think you do. Yeah. I think it's a spectacle.
Sure.
I do remember on the last year that that I was doing it, Jeffrey came to me and he goes, hey, he goes, have you heard that song Poker Face? By this artist named Lady Gaga? And I was like, Lady Gaga? He's like, yeah. And he's like, do you think we could try to get her to sing Poker Face launching the main event day one? And I said, well, I know somebody I can reach out to. So I wrote out, I started, making my contacts, and I know a guy named Mike Easterman. I don't know if you know Mike Easterman. He's a big talent. I believe he exclusively, or at least he used to exclusively manage Mario Lopez.
Oh, wow. Mario.
But he was like the influencer, like all the Playboy playmates to be in A-list celebrities. But I know he had Lady Gaga on his roster because I literally reached out to him and I said, hey, how much would it cost for her to come in just to sing Poker Face? No concert, nothing else.
Just to launch the World Series of Poker. Right?
Yep. And he literally reached out and contacted Lady Gaga, and Lady Gaga's management team said $500,000.
Wow.
And I said, just to sing one song? And they said, her minimum booking is $500,000. This is one of those guilty, and I know you've run to it a million times. If she would have been presented it directly, I think she probably would have said, oh, I'd be honored to be the one.
Part of the marketing and everything with that globally? Wow.
If it would have happened, it would have probably been, Jeffrey would probably still be the commissioner. And I'd probably still be doing World Series of Poker launch events. But the funny thing about it is I actually became friends recently with a guy named Paul Blair, which has been Gaga's producer for, I believe, since Poker Face. And I remember telling him that story. And he goes, you know what? I think I remember that being kind of pitched. And I go, was it pitched to her? She said $500,000. Oh. And he goes, actually, I don't remember the details, but no, it never got to her.
Fair price.
Yeah.
Greed.
And I go,
manager greed, and those agents, they're tough to get through.
Yeah. Well, and again, the vision, right? It's so hard to get to the vision of some of these people. And again, by no means am I trying to call out anybody, especially,
Times were different then, too. Look how it's evolved now and how much easier it is with our relationships and networks and producing parties and marketing and, with your SKC group and what you've done with Tau Group and 11 and some of the bigger brands.
Yep.
It's just evolved. It's just an evolution of that. Even like we go back to the Utopia days, it was guerrilla street marketing. Gino ran the inside. He made me little business cards. All I did was walk around the Hard Rock and give out cards that are half off. And it was guerrilla street marketing. Then we did the colleges. Then we did the cars and the parking lot. We did the gay areas. We did everything. There was no problem back then doing this guerrilla street marketing. Now, boy, you get fined and it's a big deal now. So
but did you? But here's the one thing. I've talked to because obviously I'm a few years behind you coming up in the world. But like I literally would talk to like these up and coming promoters and hosts, and they all literally are like, I don't want to be enough flowers. I'm like, listen,
I loved
I
it.
guarantee. I was
loved it.
I was about to lead into it. Did that not open up so many doors for you? And then somebody, you hand out a card and they go, hey, you need to meet my friend Paul Allen, the billionaire.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, I met so
Yeah.
many interesting people
Yeah,
by literally doing the guerrilla marketing promotion.
absolutely.
And kind of cutting my teeth on that.
Yeah,
I enjoyed doing it. I actually loved.
I loved it.
Loved doing
when people were in the clubs, I spent the first 2 or 3 hours. I went and did all the parking lots and everywhere, and I was by myself and answered my phone. And back in this time when we first moved here, and you can relate to this, we had beepers. This was like pre-phone. So it was like doing your beeper, putting out flyers, and then, heading to the club, and then bringing your group of people, meeting, and then doing the bottle and the VIP stuff that eventually, got stronger as the bigger network. I've had a hashtag I do forever, and it'll be incorporating a lot of the stuff I'm doing, and it's all about your network, and it's about the network you've built and the relationships you build. I mean, my relationships and my network are just priceless.
Yeah.
I call it the Bowtown Bible. I'm like 24,000 phone numbers and just
No. Hold
collected.
Hold on. I got to tell you a quick story. Bo comes to me, and I'd probably say I'm probably Bo's like tech guy.
He is my tech guy.
He literally calls me all the time.
Not my strong point. I'll admit it.
No, which is fine. But he literally comes to me and he goes, you've always helped me. You've always supported me. I want to support you. You know what? Like, hey, I've got my LinkedIn. I really want to send out a bunch of emails, and kind of introducing SKC to my network, because my network's not just Vegas; it's all over the country and all over the world. And I go, well, like how many how many people you have on LinkedIn? Now, keep in mind, I think I have a lot. I have like 59, almost 6,000 people on LinkedIn.
A lot.
Bo's got 21,000. All right, and he never uses it.
Yeah,
and
never have.
But that just tells you the power of what people wanted to connect with you.
Yeah.
They wanted to connect with you so bad that they're seeking you out, connecting with you. I remember even probably 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even 9 years ago, I probably still have it on my computer.
Card?
No, all of your email lists.
Oh, I have tons of them. I'm still on my little chip thing in my safe, and I've got hundreds of thousands of emails.
Hundreds of thousands of emails.
Yeah.
You came to me and you said, I need your help. Again, tech guy. This is probably 8, 9 years ago. And I literally went over to your condo at Panorama.
Yep.
And we literally went through, and I first of all, I had to hire a cleaning service to clean all the emails.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
And then we had to upload everything to a database. And again, it must have worked out, because I know that, if Bo stops calling you on a problem, it's fixed.
It's fixed.
If he's still calling you or asking questions, it's definitely not fixed.
But, back to your point, is like, I love what I do. It wasn't work. Getting to the club and meeting the people, that's the high. That's what you look for at the end. So the rest is just easy, and you're networking along the way. And, hey, you need a table. Now the VIP thing starts evolving. Now I'm booking more tables. I mean, I put out over 200,000 business cards in 25 years to build my network. Don't do it so much now because of the evolution of technology and, the social media is
like pop or whatever. All those little things
you're
are.
just touching. But, that network that I built that took 20 plus years is what got me into the world that I'm in now, and being approached by corporate companies for equity in companies and trying to make their brands grow or whatever the product is. I have several on the table right now, and so I've evolved into this new world of technology.
And we all have. I mean,
it's exploding right now, just crazy.
It's really exciting to actually see you evolve into what you're doing. It's the same thing with me. Like, how did I get into owning one of the biggest digital marketing companies in Las Vegas? And really, it's because people would come to me.
They trust us,
They trust us. We literally never burned anybody intentionally.
No.
We never really, we just were good business people, but people call me up and say, "Hey, do you know somebody that can, take photos of this? Do you know somebody who can make a logo? Do you know somebody?" And after a while, working with all these different marketing departments in Las Vegas, from working with the Tao Group, and I didn't really work in the marketing department. I was more like independent. Like I was definitely an independent contractor that was doing the Sunday parties. But I still, I would have a little bit of input. Like Jordan Miner was like my
Jordan's great,
direct point of contact. And I remember having a couple conversations with him where he was like, "Hey, we're booking this DJ. What do you think?"
Eric Murillo.
Oh man, go rest his soul.
Best parties. I just got to jump in. I mean, Ollie's my boy, and rest in peace and all. But I think at the time of that, when Tao came in and Tao Thursday worships and all the other clubs and after hours, that was
Memorial Day weekend, 2007
until 10 in the morning.
No. It went to no. The first year it went to 1 o'clock in the morning. I was there till about 9:30 in the morning, and I remember if somebody buys a bottle, I'll play one more hour. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And then it was like 4 people bought. Like it was a Magnum. It was a 5 liter, right?
Yeah, the big ones.
Yeah, it was a 5 liter. It definitely wasn't 1.75. It was a 5.
No, it was the bigger ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember the first hour it was like 4, and then like the second hour was like the second hour was like 1, and then I think we're up to like 7 o'clock now, 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then like literally people just started still buying. But here's the crazy thing: people started showing up. As much as it started weeding out, it started filling back up with new tables and new people. Everybody
was coming from everywhere else. Basically, kind of an extended after hours on that event.
Do you remember who he was going heads up against over with Jet? Oh, and it's okay. I don't want to put you on the spot. It was Tiesto.
Oh wow,
yeah, it was Tiesto. It was that Sunday night, Memorial Day weekend, 2007. Tiesto was at Jet. Eric Murillo was at Tao. And if you know the layout and the layout of the Las Vegas Strip, they're literally right across the street from each other. You could walk back and forth.
Take that little bridge right over where Venus was across the way there, the back end.
No. We're talking about Mirage.
Oh, Mirage. Okay.
Yeah. You're thinking, So like literally the Mirage, you literally walk right across the street and you're right in front of the canals, and you walk right in. You go right upstairs to Tao. I mean, literally, like the escalator is right there, and you go right up. If and that was the one thing, like, I remember I never really hated ever like the parking structures or anything like that, but like literally, if you could get dropped off or valet at the Venetian, it was so convenient to get to Tao. If you had to park in the parking garage, good luck. It was like a journey. Walk. And the thing is, we're guys, right? We have no problem. Our shoes are probably not that uncomfortable. They're probably always really comfortable.
But the girls,
man, and like literally in their high heels and. And like it was like by the time you got to the club, they're already like, my feet, And I remember just dealing with that. So I'm like, I literally, whenever I had clients, I literally would be like, all right, listen, we're gonna get you a cab. This is before Uber. We're gonna get you a cab or even a limo, and we're gonna drop you off right at the front of the Venetian. You're gonna walk right in. It's like right there where the hotel check-in is. Yep. And we're going to meet you at that bar right downstairs from
bottom of the escalator.
Bottom of the escalator. I couldn't even tell you the name of the bar, but it was called the Bottom of the Escalator Bar.
That was the spot.
That was a spot. That was a meetup spot.
Yeah.
And literally, it was so convenient for the girls. Yeah. Now, literally leaving, it was a whole other story because, we're either getting a limo to go over to Rhino,
the next spot,
Sapphire, Crazy Horse, wherever. But yeah, I mean,
That was the explosion. Right about that time area, like you said, 2002 to 2009. That was probably the funnest. The Body English.
I would say 2007 was probably the best year.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you had Tao Beach opened up, you had Bear opened up, you had Blush was really blowing up then because Blush, I think
that was a great spot. I like that spot.
Blush. Yeah. And then, I love that. Oh, Trist.
Oh, Trist.
Trist went from Labette.
Labette. That was
to Trist.
Terrible name. Labette. At first, no one liked that name. No one got it. I didn't get it. And when they changed it, I was like, okay, now I'll go to Trist. Trist is great. Let's go have a Trist.
Well, did you ever go to the venue when it was Labette?
Oh yeah, of course I did.
But remember, the problem with the venue wasn't the name, which I agree with you. I don't like the name either. But it was like rooms. Remember?
Yeah, it was different. It was sectioned off before they opened it up. Yeah. Eventually later on when it Trist. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they opened it wide up, and then literally it changed the whole game because Trist actually gave everybody's idea and vision for Excess, which is still arguably the number one nightclub in Las Vegas, hands down. And for the longest time, the world, because now I'm going to say, the argument is going to be, is that Excess, the top 3 clubs, in my opinion, in the country, is in no particular order, because if I was going to put an order, it'd be 11 on top, is Excess, Omnia, and 11.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
Now, what order? I don't know, but, I mean...
It all depends on your
Well, nothing really compares to 11. So let's go back to 11 for a second.
yeah, no.
You know what Gino took in the concept there with Dennis and you know to be able to grow and explode as fast as it did with the concept with the beautiful girls. I'll tell you the number one thing about 11. That is a family over there. I have not seen what they have over there in the family and the employees, the management. Like everybody gives hugs and shakes, and that is the number one thing about 11.
I envy that all the time. Yeah. Now here the culture
gave me chills.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Woo.
The culture I created here at SKC, very much the same thing. We always welcome, good morning, this and that.
Yeah.
Everybody has access to all the department heads, myself. They can just walk into my office. They got a question for me? Pull. The same thing with the 11. What I really love is every time I go to Miami, and I'm there pretty often, as you know, every time I'm like the kind of the pregame spot is Gold Rush.
Right.
All right. So I'll show up the Gold Rush, and then like Danny Solomon, one of the partners, he'll show up, and then Derrick Henry, one of the other partners, will show up. And when they greet each other, it's like they hadn't seen each other in a friggin' year or longer. Hey, brother, and they literally hug each other.
Just the energy they create walking in the room, it's amazing.
When Dennis shows up, everybody, like, when Dennis is going to show up.
The building, yeah.
The whole building knows.
Yeah.
But that right there shows me the respect that they give that
to
man.
Everybody.
No, 100%.
The whole team.
He comes in, and everybody from the manager to the bar lead, but to the busboy.
Yeah, busboys.
To the guy who's in the kitchen, the guy who's doing the hookah. They go over, hey, Dennis, and they shake his hand. And Dennis always has a smile on his face.
Yeah, happy guy.
All the partners have that. And like it used to be like walking into 11 with Gino. From the time that we'd pull up,
how long does it take to finally get in?
To get to where like we're gonna post up, whether it's in that back bar, on the side, or or at Dennis's table, literally, it could take 10 minutes.
Like, wow, I got here at 1. It's 2:00. I haven't even got a drink.
Or it could take an hour.
Yeah,
because everybody comes up and wants to say hi. Yeah, and he gives. You're right. The family. I mean, there's nothing like that.
You could be an outsider and watch it and go, "Wow, they got a special thing."
So I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the name. Don't say the name. Okay. All right. Don't say the name. Okay. You know who that is?
Of course. One of my dear friends.
Okay. Good. So he hit me up over the weekend. He was in town.
Yeah, I saw he was in Miami with the wife.
Yep. So he was out there, and the only reason why I don't want to say his name, it has nothing to do with anything.
Well, I'm sure he'll be on your show at some point.
No, 100% he will be. But the thing is that he literally the first time he ever went to 11 was this weekend.
Oh wow, really? I was going to reach out to him, but I figured he'd already
his birthday. His birthday always falls.
Oh no,
Art Basel.
Oh nice.
No, which is bad. Because we can't. The cheapest table at 11.
Oh yeah,
is what 40,000.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
30,000
is what it is.
And so and of course you're not going to celebrate your birthday by yourself. So anyways, my point is that like he went for the first time, and he actually a mutual friend of his is a big customer or a big supporter of 11. He got a table that night. And so he actually got the full 11 experience. So I'm literally texting with him.
Is he down the pit?
Yep.
Nice.
Right in front of Dennis's table.
Oh, nice.
Gino was right there.
That's
everybody.
A spot to be, yeah.
So like I literally said, glad everything worked out, and you got the full 11 experience.
Perfect.
Because there was getting him on the list to getting him in the first night was a different because he went twice. He went 2 nights in a row. Oh yeah. He said, "Yeah, buddy." He's like that club was amazing.
Nice. Now that's a big statement coming from him, who's been around he's a Utopia guy. I date people back. He's one of those guys. So for him to say that, and it's funny because he called me about a year ago. Hey, can you give me 11 do a space? Give me a table, and I sent him all the minimums. This is like a year ago, and
no.
He was almost irritated by it. Like, what? I can't get a cheaper table.
We were
like,
no. We were together. But no, me and you were together when that text came in.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, actually, hold on. I actually have. You're gonna laugh.
Yeah, you keep it.
I keep everything on my phone.
I don't.
He's like, oh, I don't do that. So I literally, hopefully this is not being weird on the. Oh man, I got to find it. Anyways, I'll find it soon enough. But anyways, he literally sent me a screenshot of the message that he had with Gino.
Oh, nice.
And part of it was from last year was on there, and literally it was, hey, hey, I'm in town, love to come by and check out the club, and this is like in the middle of the afternoon, and Gino's response was, awesome, love to see you, keep me updated, if he's coming, and then of course he hit him up, and sometimes Gino gets really busy. And sometimes, he doesn't get an
check
opportunity.
It for a while. Right.
Well, no, he checks his phone, but sometimes, there's so many different group chats going on. But anyway, so I kind of nudged and said, hey, he wants to go over to the club and check it out. Anyways, but a portion of it was right above it. And it says, hey, bro, sorry, but this is all we have left. And it was like a $30,000 table. Yep.
Exactly. Now I remember.
Yeah. And
he was bummed. Like, can't they do a lower minimum? I'm like, bro, you'll once you go there and experience it and see it. But he hadn't done that yet. So.
And now he has.
And
so actually, I'm really excited. Me and you actually should go and pop over and see him at a spot.
I was there about 5 a.m. on Saturday.
Oh, you was?
Didn't see him, of course. He was out of town, but I frequent that place a lot.
No. We should definitely go there. We should definitely, because I want to know, I want to hear
his experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the club's been open 9 years now. We're going on 9 years.
11 is?
Yeah.
That long?
February 2023 is going to be 9 years.
Wow.
I remember being there from, opening day. Because, I mean, as you know, like me and Gino were, working together at Hustler. I was doing all the marketing and social media stuff. And obviously Gino was operating the club and, doing all that. And I remember really funny story because that was the last venue that Gino worked at before, partnering up with Dennis and, all the other guys. He literally calls me up. And this is like 2010, 2011. I can't remember when. And he goes, hey, are you at Crazy Horse 3 right now? Remember Crazy Horse 3 used to do the reload parties every Wednesday.
Right.
All right. Or once a month on a Wednesday. And reload is basically they give you a credit card. They basically upped it.
Yeah.
Yep. And so you can go in as an industry person. They literally would only charge you like industry prices.
Yeah, it was like half price drinks. Everyone was big.
Yeah. But they also gave you credit on your card. Which was really cool. And obviously we brought a lot of people there and over the years. But anyways, I said, yeah, I'm over here. He goes, do me a favor. He goes, hop in your car, head over to Hustler. And I literally was like, why? Like, there's no reason to. Hustler was literally, it opened up with the big, huge, like the name, this beautiful club, probably one of the most beautiful strip clubs in Las Vegas. And it just crashed because they brought in all outside non-Vegas people, which we all know is always going to doom to fail. Yeah. We walk in. I literally say, hey, I'm here. He kind of walks out. We meet kind of in a little lobby foyer area, and we walk through, and we literally counted. There was 9 or 12 dancers.
Oh, wow.
All right. And this is at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. All right. So this is, I mean,
that's early, but
okay.
They're supposed to check in at 9, I think.
Yeah. So like 9 to 12 dancers. And about 5 to 6 customers.
Oh, wow.
All right. Now, granted, you still have the staff, and so it didn't.
There's some bodies in there, but
it looked dead, right? Yeah. So we walked through, and then of the 9 customers, we'll say like 3 of them were pimps.
Oh gosh.
And so he goes. I mean, he gave me the whole tour. 2nd floor, 1st floor, basement, roof. But this before the roof, there was nothing up there yet.
I remember it was empty.
And I was like, he goes, do you think this place has potential? I said, this is one of the most beautiful venues I've ever been in. He goes, well, I just did a deal with Harry, and I'm taking it over. I've got pretty much carte blanche within reason. He's like, you want to be my marketing guy, And I said, well, I would love to do as an independent, but I'll be here every night for you.
I remember every time I called you were there at the bar.
Yep. And so I literally just went for it, and really because I believed in him, I believed in Gino, and literally in the first 3 months that we had that place cracking. Yeah, but we also were the first club to do cash payouts to our promoters.
Oh, nice.
at the booth. So like the same place where the cabbies were getting, and the limo drivers were getting their payouts, we were doing the cash payouts, but that was Gino's idea, I believe.
Hey, people are going to bring more people. They stuff some cash in their pockets.
No, like literally, they walk in the group
concept,
and then they walk right out, they grab their cash, and they walk right back in to go enjoy. Or they would just have that slip with them, and then as they were leaving, they get paid. Yeah. And it was so easy to get the promoters on board then, or all the independent, we'll call them independent hosts, right?
Independents.
Yep. And it blew up.
Yeah.
So we went from actually doing, filling in the crowd, and now we got to get girls back there, because obviously I could bring all the guy customers, but you still need the girls, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, we ended up crushing it, and he did, well, I would say he did, but the team did. We crushed it so well that, yeah, I mean, opportunity came knocking for him in other places. But I don't want to air out everything that he was thinking about during that time period, but he had another offer on the table.
Yeah.
Was really appealing. And it's not my business to say what it was, but it was going to take him not to the East Coast, it was going to take him farther to the West Coast. Because I think he was really always worried about, like, literally leaving Vegas. Like, this is his home, and he created an empire here. Right. And it always frustrated him. How come I'm not on top? Because I created this, but he's not an arrogant person. He's not a conceited person.
Very humble.
He just never, very humble. Yeah. But he never understood why, why he wasn't, there, or but he also was like, maybe I'm just not getting my break. But I'm telling you, when he went to Miami,
it was all good there.
I
literally the support. They believed in him. He had a track record, and change is good. Location was good. Obviously, look what it did for him and his family. They're happy. They love it out there.
100%. Because I remember he was out there for the first year without his family. Yeah. Because he kept coming back and forth, because I mean, like, literally, I had the opportunity just recently, like last 2-3 months. Dennis Agori came out with actually a bunch of people from 11, and for one of the conferences in town, and I actually was at dinner, and actually got some good quality time with him. Literally was taking him back to his hotel from a couple of the nights, and I really liked that his vision, that when he literally what he had. He just needed all this to fall into place.
Yeah, you have to have the right components. It takes a lot to build a team.
And literally, everybody thinks that it's this person and that person and this person. It's 11 as a team. It's not one person. Right. It's not Gino. It's not Derek. No. It's not it's not Danny. It's not Dennis. It's all of them collectively. Right. And like, literally, if there was a Hall of Fame for nightclubs, he should be inducted as Uno number 1 guy. Yeah. Because he literally, him, we'll call it a burst, what was it called? A first round ballot. Yeah. First round ballot, like him, like the Jason Strausses of the world, the Victor Dre's.
Jason Strauss.
The guys who created Studio 54, oh my God, Dave Grutman's. All those guys.
It's funny, Jason Strauss, we're buddies, always did a ton of business over there, but he would always come up to me and he'd go, I just want to thank you and Gino for paving the way for us,
Really? He used to say that?
He used to say that to me, and he'd say it a few, 4 times. As later in the night or earlier in the morning you would catch Jason, it would be a little more sarcastic toward the end. But he was always very appreciative of what we'd done and respected us, and it was a mutual respect at that level. And Gino dealt with them in a lot of different things. So Jason Strauss, the Tao Group, Noah, all those guys are great.
Yeah, no, and Lou, I loved Lou. Yeah. Lou Abin. It's funny, he just opened up Lotus to Siam up at Red Rock.
Oh, my friends were just there this weekend. Billy was up there.
Yeah, he did, yeah. He actually, I don't know, he ended up partnering with that family that, the original one. Yeah, then they ended up doing that. But you go back to Jason Strauss, 1 billion%. Like, he literally, he had faith in, when he had an idea for something, he kind of knew who he wanted to put in those places. Yeah. And at the time, it was me and Mark J. And Mark J. was a beast when it came to promotion and promoting. And I think that first year,
even prior to Tao Beach, that was when we did Raw. at the Luxor, and Gina was in there, and we were doing.
You're talking about Mark J?
Yeah, Mark J was
Oh
there.
no, Mark J goes all the way back to Rob in 1999.
Yeah.
And it
Pleasure
again,
Dome. That was it. Wednesday nights, Pleasure Dome. That was a big house night. Thursday was the big hip hop night with Mr. Bob and all the hip hop guys and whatnot. So,
well, you know what's crazy? Mark J told me a story of how he even got into. So Mark was working.
Billy Richardson, Senior.
Hold on. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So Mark was on a flight from London to Las Vegas, and he was sitting first class, and he sat right next to Billy Richardson.
Oh wow! Senior or junior?
You know what?
Well, junior was pretty much ran the club, but senior was senior with the Mandalay Bay group.
I want to say it was junior.
It was probably junior.
I want to say it was junior. So they're sitting on there. Mark is working, or just I think he was still currently working for MTV London, and he was basically. And so when they started chit chatting, and they realized, oh yeah, my father just built the Mandalay Bay, and I'm running this, and then Mark's like, yeah, I'm working for MTV London, and Billy goes, you know what? You know who we really want to get access to and we cannot get a hold of? Is this guy named Paul Oakenfold.
Oh, jeez.
And Mark just did a special or did something with him.
Oh, with MTV?
Like in the last 2 weeks before that, or very recent. And he goes, okay. He goes, I can get you Paul Oakenfold. He goes, listen, you get me Paul Oakenfold, all right, then we're going to do some business together.
That was in the heyday of Transport and all his original albums that came out.
This is 1999.
Yeah.
So the funny story about Mark J, I actually met Mark when he was at ICE as a marketing director.
Yeah, he was there with that whole reality show and all that with AMG. And
yeah, that was a little, 100%. But you know what was crazy was everybody knew that Mark J lived at the Mandalay Bay.
Yeah, he did. He had a suite.
Yeah. And every 28 days he had to go down, check out, recheck back in, and to a new room. Sometimes I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but I know every 28 days he had to check out and recheck back in because of the laws of when it comes to hotel rooms. But he literally, Billy said, "Listen, you give me Paul Oakenfold, like we're gonna do business together." He goes, "By the way, where are you staying?" And Mark didn't have a place to stay yet, and this is back. I don't know if you remember this. And God, I wish we had a graphic of this, but there's gonna be no way we're gonna find it. Or maybe you guys could find it. We could wrap the show with that. See if you could find at McCarran Airport. It used to be a whole wall of telephones where all the hotels.
Wow.
It was literally, if you type in Las Vegas Airport hotel phone wall, call that. So basically,
just pick up like the Bat Line straight to Tao or straight to the Venetian or straight to the Luxor or
whatever hotel.
I haven't seen that.
No, it was a giant wall of phones. Because every time you came here, you're probably already hooked up.
Yeah, I just kind of bypassed it.
You got to remember, in 1999, 2000, the internet was still fresh.
Yeah, I wasn't.
How did you book a hotel room? Of course, you called the hotel, you made a reservation, but when you showed up to Las Vegas, if you didn't have a hotel room, they had this hotel wall. It would be really cool if they find the image, but I mean, it's probably a vintage photo. But yeah, you literally go over, you pick up the phone, and it'd be like, it would go right into Mirage, right into Caesars reservations. Yeah. And also, I believe they used to have like a red light, and if the red light was on, I mean, the hotel was at capacity.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Wow. So
I'd love to see a picture of that. I didn't ever catch that one, but that was a good idea back then.
No, it was crazy. So right down the escalator from oh my God, into baggage claim. It was coming out of baggage claim. And another thing, I don't know if you remember, but remember how they used to always check your baggage?
You had to have your ticket in order when you pick it up out of the baggage.
Yeah, or you ain't getting out. That old. I mean, they always hired senior citizens to do it, and they were very strict on it. And awesome that they gave them, that they did that. But you're right. If you didn't have your ticket, sorry, go over to the courtesy desk for that airline and go get a reprint of your ticket.
Good luck.
You were not getting out of that. Yeah. There'd be a line just to get a reprint ticket. But right into two parts of the two baggage claims, right? Because you have the two baggage claim sides. On one of the walls was
the phone wall.
The hotel phone wall.
I had a funny story when I used to do my guerrilla marketing back there for Rhino. I would hit the airport, and I would check all the flights. Hey, when's the Miami people come in? Where's the
Yep.
Chicago?
No,
Where's the LA?
100%.
And I would go to the airport, and it was a free-for-all. I just walked around and gave people cards. Well, eventually they shut me down on that. But even, that's where you got them. You got them right off the thing. You got them right at the airport. Here's the party. You need your VIP. I get you a limo. And that's kind of where that whole hosting thing came in. But I was just a little more aggressive than everybody. I went to where the people were. And I think that went a long ways in my marketing and being able to reach out to people and build a database. The network I did, getting into the whole VIP stuff. And like you said, we go back to it. I had some of the best times of my life back then when I was out running around the parking lots for 4 or 6 hours. And, everything had your initial on it. You had to put on so you knew when it came back and returns. And, I miss those days, and I think there's not a lot of that anymore. Anything is not really traditional old school marketing like doing that.
I mean, but technology, innovation.
Yeah, but it's just like, things come back around. And I think, if you're, things are different. So I got out of the scene in about throwing parties around maybe 2015 with the explosion of the clubs. And I wasn't trying to throw my parties at Empire. We were doing Empire then, and I would do everything early from 11 to 3 or whatever and get my door deal with Gino and whatever. But once all the clubs opened up and these big DJs, we had 6 different DJs, Tiesto here and Calvin here and all that. I kind of said, you know what, I'm going to bow out of this. I'm not going to go up against these big, massive clubs with these DJs. And it just...
Well, you couldn't anymore. I mean, literally the corporations...
money they were spending, the billboards and the marketing, the
They
teams.
started listening.
Yeah.
And Steve Wooden was one of the first ones. He started listening to his nightclub operators, to the twins, Sly and Jesse. And then, the Sean Christie's and Paulie Freeman now is over there operating all that. Yeah. And I guarantee you that a lot of the really good things that are happening in the industry today are now because they're listening to the people who know how it used to be.
I mean, even that whole light group, the Angie and Andrew and Sean Christie was a House of Blues, and that's kind of where Jesse and Cy came in. All those guys came in. Larry Murphy was another one from that group.
Corey McCormick that went over to Hard Rock.
Yeah, and then Babies, that was big. Cy and Jesse were over there, and Shannon DuPont, and
well, that was Corey. Yeah, well, no, Shannon was actually she started at the Palms.
Oh,
she started at the Palms, and then she ended up going over. There's another local kind of industry legend, Sean. Oh my gosh, what's his last name? I'm gonna be like an idiot, and hopefully this doesn't air like this. Sean.
That whole.
So Sean and Shannon moved here together.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then when they split up, broke up, whatever, went their own ways, then that's when Shannon got with Corey. Anyway, I don't want to air out everybody's industry
X's. We could do a whole show on that one.
Yeah,
I got a couple.
So with that, I mean, we're definitely we rolled over an hour here, and we're definitely doing it.
This is like part 10 down the road. Yeah. Different segments we can elaborate.
I mean, like literally, we started off with like, "Hey, we're tweening with our Captain's Club," and I promise you guys,
that was not
not planned. All right, because we're not like like the old school girls are like, "Hey, what are you wearing? You wearing pink?" No. Literally,
we're vibing.
He came in with it in his hand, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm wearing." He goes, I gotta wear mine now. Cool. And the irony was, we literally were just talking about
in your office
about Gino. And literally, bam, he FaceTimes me. And he wanted to FaceTime me to say hi, that they were doing the 11 family. Right. They were doing a barbecue at the park with both Gold Rush and 11 family in Miami for the holidays. And I was like, oh, that's so awesome. But it was so weird. We were just talking about him when he called.
Yeah, and we'll be out there next weekend, right? Art Basel?
Yeah, I actually get there a few days before you. I get there the morning of the 1st.
Okay, cool.
And honestly... You know what? That's where we do it a part 2. We'll come back.
Do it in Miami?
No.
Oh, once we come back from that venture?
Yeah, okay. Oh, you know what? I don't know. Take it
we might be able to do that. Or be you and Gino pop on one down there.
I don't know.
If we could get his time.
I don't know. I don't know if the staff wants to go to Miami and have a great time with great weather.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll figure that one out. But anyways.
There's so much to talk about in the future stuff. And, it's a pleasure.
Well, thank you.
Always, being able to be in your circle and work with you, and we work direct, and some of the business ventures we have and marketing things we have now. I'm excited about what's going on with SKC and Bowtown Global, and expanding my stuff. And
we definitely have to dive into that part 2 about like specifically what we're doing. Yeah. But hey, thank you again. I mean, guys, living legend in nightlife. But very good friend Bo, Bowtown Bo Karlen. All right.
That's me.
Thank you again. Tune in next time
We'll be here.
for any other. I mean, we're gonna have more great episodes, but thank you again. SKC Live. Brian Kipp. I'm out.
Peace, guys. Dude, we could talk for hours.
Oh my God.